Hi, and welcome to Lock Haven's A Senior Moment. I'm Mary Beth Truitt. I'm the Marketing Director at Lock Haven Senior Living Community. It's good to have you with us today. I've been wanting to do a program that would talk about service and to highlight a person who I feel like has given a lifetime of service, and I came up with just the perfect person for this program. His name is... perfect person for this program. His name is Frank Eaton, and Frank lives here in Macon and has for several years. I'd like to welcome you to the program, Frank.
Thank you. God bless.
As I said, Frank has really, literally made a lifetime of service, and not only service to the community now that he lives in, but he started out service to his country at a very young age. So Frank, why don't you just start out telling us how that all happened, how you came to join the service, and at what age and what branch and those kind of things.
Well, I was 16 on the 14th of August, the 25th of August of the same year. I joined the Missouri State Guard, and I had to lie about my age, and I had to give my grandmother's phone number or address over in Kansas City, Missouri, 3427 Wabash, Kansas City, Missouri. And so anyway, I joined and went to camp and everything. We worked with dynamite and all kinds of different things, gases and different stuff, learned all that. And like I say, our uniforms was all World War I uniforms. And but I wanted to get in the Marines, and I had two other brothers in the Marines, and right from the beginning, and Mom wouldn't sign for me to get back in the Marines too, so I was 16. So anyway, I was in the Guard anyway, so she said she'd sign for the Merchant Marines, so okay, well, join the Merchant Marines then. And when I joined, this buddy of mine was supposed to meet me at somewhere in Kansas City, Missouri, and we got ready to leave. Well, he hadn't shown up yet, so they said, well, we're ready to go. And I said, well, I can't go yet because my buddy hadn't showed up yet. He said, well, we can't wait on him. And I said, well, I'm not going. So I went down, I think it was a post office, and joined the Marine Corps. And I have a bag packed, my lunch and everything. And they said, when do you want to leave? I said, right now. He said, well, we can't leave right now. You know, you got to give me about a week, you know. So anyway, so after that week, and then I got in the Marines without Mom knowing. I guess she thought I was going in the Merchant Marines. So all three brothers served in the Marines. I still have my dog tags.
So you had to quit school in order to do this?
Yeah, I quit school. Well, I got smarter than the teachers, and I thought, well, you know, I better leave. So anyway, I quit, and while I was doing that, I was 16, still don't know how I did it, but I was working for the post office as a substitute, a mail carrier. And so anyway, I'd do my route all the time after school, then I'd do summertime, I'd do it, in the wintertime, I was quit school by that time. In wintertime, I would deliver two, but my hands about freeze. They would give us 3 routes, and we get on a streetcar, which it didn't cost anything. We went right up to my route, where there's 2 mailboxes there. One you put letters in, and one nobody knew about it, what it was for. But then we put 2 routes in it, and I'd go deliver one, come back and deliver the other one, come back and deliver the other one. Then we get back on the streetcar and go back, and then we deliver twice a day.
And this was in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Twice a day we delivered, and had the same 3 routes again. So
yeah,
got to do all that stuff, and
a lot of work, a lot of hard work at that time. What were your duties when you were in service? What did you do? What was one of the main duties anyway?
Well, I went in motor transport, which is driving. I hadn't drove a car. Dad showed us how to drive a truck, and that's all I drove was a truck. And before I went into service, I even drove from this creamery I worked for. I drove from Kansas City, Kansas, to Kansas City, Missouri, to deliver ice cream over to Union Station, which would be shipped out to different parts of the country. I guess it was packed in dry ice. And when I got into service, I wanted to drive a truck. So anyway, they got all of us, a bunch of us, back of the truck, and one guy up there with the new driver, and he kept clashing gears, and everybody else was back there yapping, and I was back there watching through the window to see where the gears was, because I hadn't drove anything like that. So anyway, when I went in there and didn't have no trouble, just drove right off and got the job, But,
So you drove a lot of your officers and did that, I believe
yeah,
you
well,
told
we
me.
was assigned to a colonel, and we had a radio chief, and he was a neat guy. He was, you didn't have to say sir or anything else to him, which I still did anyway. But anyway, we was going up a hill one time, and 11 weeds got wrapped around the drive shaft, and he wouldn't let me get down there. He got underneath the Jeep, and well, I backed up and went ahead, pulled all that stuff off. Just a nice guy to be. Anyway, and one day he told me, he said, we got a beating over here. I think we was in Puerto Rico at that time, checking the islands out. And he said, whatever it is, don't let nobody drive my Jeep. I don't care who it is. I said, okay, I don't care if it's president. I wouldn't let him, So anyway, I don't know if it was a setup or what it was, but anyway, this officer come up here and wanted me to take him somewhere. I said, I'm sorry, sir. This is the colonel's Jeep. Nobody else rides it. So him. And he said, well, you're going to take me. That's the order. And I said, I don't care what your order is. I'm not moving. So whatever, do whatever you want to do, but I'm not budging. So anyway, finally the colonel come up and got everything settled down. But
What different countries did you serve in, Frank?
just mostly aboard ship and all the islands on the east,
I see.
on the Atlantic,
Okay.
and
All right.
just checking for submarines or anything. So we had a fleet, and this when we was going to this, we went from Norfolk, Virginia. We went to these different islands and things. Well, we ran into a typhoon. And I understood just 3 or 4 years ago that I didn't know about it earlier, but there was a lot of damage done to these ships during that typhoon because it was all so close together. But anyway, we come out pretty good with that, but it was bad. We was in the bottom, the Marines was in the bottom, 118 of us Marines in the bottom of the ship, and in the hole, I guess you call it. And the rest of the sailors up there. Well, we don't get all that laying back. It laid on one side, then lay on the other side, and the ship was going up and down like this, which we're on the bottom. We're not getting part of that. But most of the old salt sailors and things like that was getting sick, and one Marine got sick, too. But
That does not sound fun. It does not sound fun at all.
I went to Coney Island one time, and we was on leave there, went to Coney Island, and we was drinking and eating ice cream and all that stuff. And I wrote all that stuff they had there, trying to impress the girls, and but I never did get sick. I didn't get sick from it at all.
Well, I learned something when we were kind of talking about this that I was telling the girls that before we filmed that they were going to learn something new about you. And you told me that you were a fighter back then. And I don't mean like fighting the enemy. I mean, you like to kind of engaged in some
Well,
fist
I
fights.
never did start one. I finished a lot of them, and they come out even a lot of times. But I never backed away from anybody.
Oh.
And which, like I say, we never started anything. But then the first day I was in the Marine, it might have been the second day, but whatever it was, they was passing out uniforms, and I was talking instead of keeping my mouth shut. And somebody, I had tightened my shirt or something like that anyway. and they said something about taking it off or something. I didn't hear it, and pretty soon I had my hand come across like that, and wham, I hit him. It was the first lieutenant, it's either first or second day in the Marine Corps.
That's not good.
No, that's not the right thing. So anyway, everybody started grabbing, and the officer said, no, he come in the Marines to fight, and he said, that's what we're gonna do. So don't bother, leave him alone. So,
You were in the right branch then.
yeah, right branch for
That's
fighting.
right.
And,
Frank, what year did you discharge from?
I got discharged in 1946, August 25th.
Okay,
That's when I went in August 25th of 43,
gonna
so I
say,
had
just-
3 years even
yeah.
between the two branches there. And I was a corporal in the Guard, and I was a PFC in the Marine Corps.
Okay. And so then after, because I want to kind of continue this on since we're talking about service, because that's not where service for you ended. You went to work, then you had told me, for the railroad, and did quite well working for the railroad over those years. Want to mention just a little bit about that, as far as that goes?
Well, when I hired out the railroad, you had to know somebody that could, get you hired on in the first place. Well, it's no education. I got on as a laborer and worked the roundhouse, and we cleaned the fire, or knocked the fire out of the engines when they came in, and the Boilermakers went into it and checked it all out and everything. And then we washed the engines on the outside and all different kind of things. We cooled the engines. And then later on, we worked 5 days a week. And I was making, $7 something a day, I think it was. And so anyway, on my days off, I would take student trips so I could be a fireman. And so I got them done and got to be a fireman. And a hostler, which is the one that moves the engines around or takes engines over to Union Station and brings back engines. That was steam and also diesel. And so then I got to be an engineer in 1958. I was an engineer. And then we belonged to this club. There's quite a few things happened on the railroad, but we belonged to this club, I was president of the club, and you had to be at least 15 years, I think, to be in the club. And so we was going to put on a program for the different, for our club, and for the railroad itself. So we had one of the officials from the railroad come down, and we had everything lined up, from musician, you name it. We had everything lined up. We had meals. I don't remember how many hundred people was there, but everybody was served within 15 minutes. So we had everything on train order. So anyway, when this official come down, I said, "Now this is your job. What to do? This is how long you get, and we'll cut you off." So anyway, everything worked out good. And after it was all over with, he said, "How would you like to be an official?" I said, "I don't think so." And he said, "Well, don't give me an answer yet. Just think about it, and decide what you want to do." So anyway, I was talking to the wife, and I said, "Well, I could do that, and if it don't work out, I can always go back as an engineer." So anyway, I didn't have to go back. So then they sent me out to Wyoming, and I've run everything from steam engines to diesel. I run Amtrak over 100 mile an hour. I run some of the steam 100 mile an hour. And the streamliner I was on when I was a fireman, our speed limit was 98 miles an hour, and we can get up to 120. So
You like speed too,
yeah,
then,
I like
huh?
speed, yeah. I worked different places in the yard, and when I was a fireman in the yard, we'd change off the engineers and the firemen. It was on diesel. And he started calling me Casey Jones. He said, "You run faster around the curves than I do on straight tracks." So I had a nickname of Casey Jones. but speed never did bother me at all. And like I say, when you're going 120 mile an hour, when you're go by these telephone poles, it look like picking fences.
Yeah.
You know, you're moving pretty fast. You know, but like I say, it never did bother me. I guess it never did have anything happen. It probably would have bothered me, but nothing.
So service over railroad, but your service continued. So let's talk just a little bit. How many different organizations, Frank? Because most people, if they're viewing this in Macon, they know that you've been quite active in a lot of different things. How many different organizations have you belonged to? I know some personally, but go ahead and tell us.
Well, one of them was the Macon County Ministries. I was first and second president of that, and getting everything ready for the kids for Christmas and food pantry and food clothing and all that stuff. And it's come a long way since I got out of it. But I belonged to the Salvation Army. I was in the supervisor over Macon County of the Salvation Army.
I know you had told me that you were with the American Legion.
American Legion. I was commander twice, 2 different years, and I still belong to it. And I was also a chaplain, and I was also a chaplain of the VFW, and also served as commander 2 years on that. And I belonged to the Masonic Lodge, and I was commander, or I was a master of the lodge two different years there. And then I was in the Scottish Rite. There's a Scottish Rite and York Rite. I didn't belong to York Rite, but I belonged to Scottish Rite. And we, it was over, I was, Scottish Rite. And then we went to the Shrine. And while I was in the Shrine, I was president of that too. And they had me assigned to a district officer on that, and took care of Brookfield and Macon and Moberly. And in the Scottish Rite, I had an office there too, that had a little extra work for them. And I belonged to the Kiwanis. I belonged to the Chamber of Commerce here at Macon, and also in Wyoming when I was an officer out there, and belonged to Masonic lodges out there too. So
You have just...
yeah, and the Elks, and I don't know, I can remember all of them belonged to. But.
Well, and I think I got to know you best probably when you were the mayor of Macon. And so here we come to definitely serving your community as the mayor. And what years was that, Frank?
Well, it was the turn of the century, 1998 to 2002. So I was in
Turn of the century.
two centuries.
That's awesome.
And it was eye-opener. I never intended to run or nothing. I don't know how I got talked into it. Somebody talked me into it. And which one was a Republican, one was a Democrat. And I was a Republican, which I should say that. I shouldn't say that because I voted for both parties at different times.
Right.
Before Obama.
Well, you served your community and the people well.
Right.
I want to talk to you because, this has been about you, but there's been someone right alongside you your entire life.
Yeah.
And that's your wife, Mary, who you met before you went into the service. So that is, if you've been listening to this program right along, we learned that Frank went into the service at 16. So we had to have met Mary earlier than that.
Yeah.
So you were 14, probably 15 years old when you met Mary.
I never dated because that was when I went in the service there at 16. I mean, it wasn't easy to date like it is today.
Right.
And I was tall and lanky anyway. So, but anyway, the reason I met her, I went to high school with her, and she had came from Macon. At that time, I didn't know that. She was from Macon, and after Pearl Harbor, they moved to Kansas City, Kansas, and I went to school with her. And then one year, she went to the summer school. She went to the junior college and picked up another year or so. And so anyway, I met her when I came home on leave one time. And anyway, we decided to make a date. And so I told her I'd pick her up a certain time. And but she had to walk her where you went then. But, so anyway, I was telling my mom, and my sister-in-law was there at the house, and my sister-in-law said, "Well, she's married. You don't want to go with a woman's married." I said, "She's not married." Mom raised that then. You're not going to no married woman. So I said, "Well, she's not married, but you're not going to argue with your mom, at that time, because we never talked back." And so anyway, I stood her up. And then when I did get discharged, I met her again, and she was kind of upset about me not showing up, and I told her what happened with everything. So.
And for the record, she was not married.
She was not married, never been married, no. So anyway, we was kind of going together, and then one of her grandparents died, and they came back to Macon and to bury her, and I got a bus and rode down to the junction where the old buses used to be up there.
Yep.
And they picked me up there, and then I rode back to Kansas City with them. But anyway, I proposed to her at Macon at Van Sickles' place. It was over on Gulligan.
Okay.
It's
And Mary's last name was Van Sickle.
Van Sickle.
Okay.
No, her mother's name was Van Sickle. Her mother's name was Durham.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
John Durham. He was a paper and painter.
Okay.
And she had a brother too, Larry Durham, which he was 3 years younger than her. And she got her birthday coming up the 26th of this month, so so she'll be 68, no, 80, 86, 86. And
So you proposed to her, and you
Yeah.
guys got married then shortly afterwards.
got married shortly after that.
And one of the sweet things that you told me is she's the only girl you ever dated.
Only one, and she won't let me date anymore. So anyway, so yeah, she's been a sweetheart. I thank the good Lord, because I think He kept her for me.
Yeah.
Because she has been a wonderful wife. All my family kept saying it's not going to last, it's not going to last. Well, every one of them's dead and gone, and we're still together. But I can't
So you
argue.
can't even tell them.
I can't even tell them it was wrong, but.
My joy as a minister of the Church of Christ to once again declare that Frank and Mary are indeed husband and wife, according to the ordinances of God, according to the law of the state, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. And whosoever God hath joined together, let no one ever put asunder. And may the Lord bless you and keep you, and may the Lord make His face to shine upon you and be precious unto you. May the Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace, both now and in the life everlasting. Amen. You may now kiss the bride. great joy, I present to you once again Mr. and Mrs. Frank Deep.
Good, Frank, you too. You both done good.
For you. But now, in 2014, you've been married 67 years.
Yeah.
And Mary resides at Lock Haven Senior Living Community.
Right.
And and by the way, I didn't say, and I want to say right now, we are at the Macon County Historical Society at the museum, and we sure appreciate them allowing us to be here, because we also have pictures that we're going to show Frank of your family that's on the wall. You come from a long line of service and honor, and your honor to Mary as your wife for all those years is just incredible. A lesson to be learned. Yeah.
Don't happen very often, and it's hard for me to understand why people would go out and run around or live together and not marry and things like that. So, and so many today, as many people, the wife works and the men want to stay home. You know? And
kind of
me,
flip-flop.
I was a workaholic. I mean, I worked sometimes on the railroad. I worked 16-hour days, 7 days a week, you know, for years. But it's been a wonderful life.
Wonderful, Frank.
And I wouldn't want anything changed. We've had 6 children, and we've lost 3 of them. I know it was hardest to lose our first one, and she was full 9 months. Matter of fact, 9 months and 3 weeks when we had our first one. And but her lung collapsed, and the feeding tube wasn't big enough. And they said they could have done something about it today, but back then they couldn't do it. And it really made me question God about that, you know. But anyway, I finally seen the light, and we've lost 2 children since then. So we had 2 girls and 4 boys, and we lost 1 girl and 2 boys. So, but anyway, we
Life
know
is full of challenges, isn't it?
they're up in heaven, so
That's
that's
right.
the main thing. We'll see them up there one day
That's right.
with our parents and loved ones, especially Jesus.
That's right. Well, Frank, thank you for joining us. We want to encourage anyone, it doesn't matter your age, to get out and serve. I think that's our message for the day, and we thank you, Frank, for your service to our country and to our community. And again, just thank you so much, and thanks to Mary for sharing you with the community. And we will see you the next time we have a senior